Okay, welcome back. Let me finish up this property here with a public department, get department. We're going to have it just return the PFV. Okay. Now, I need to do some stuff to make this work because otherwise this demo is not going to work very well for me, is it? So what I need to do is to go back up to here and add some stuff. What I need to do is I need to add some extra items that I've put in here. So I'm going to make a public final static integer, and it's going to be called min imp id is equal to 1. And then final public static int max imp id, and I don't know, we'll do 100 or something. Okay, stop. Why did I make this public, final, and static? All right, final just makes it a constant. We know that. Public makes sense because I want to be able to get to it. But static means I now can get to those guys from some other class, which is what my department class was complaining about. I have input validation in here where I'm asking about the minimum and maximum that did not exist before. That's why I had to add that guy in. So I'm going to go ahead and just build this guy to see if it likes it. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh. Okay, I still made a mistake here in my employee guy. Okay, void set. Oh, I didn't give it the type. Okay, that should make it a lot happier. Okay, cool. So what this allowed me to do is to create a department and then add a department as a property. Okay, so a class has an embedded class. So, and you could say like an employee has a department. All right, now let's go ahead and do one of these so I can at least show you what we're talking about. It should be fairly obvious that in order, before I can put give an employee a department, I need to create a department. That would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, good. So I'm going to get rid of this, and so I'm going to create me a department. So I'm just going to say department, I don't know, D. Okay. Is equal to new department. Now I happen to know that I've actually got some stuff in here as a constructor. So for the constructor, I can give it the department name and the supervisor ID, which is what I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my guy here and say the department name is sales, and the I don't know, 12 for the supervisor ID. Okay, cool. Now I have a department, but I want to assign that department. Both of these guys get the same department. All right, no big deal. So I say imp1 dot set department is equal to D. That was pretty easy. And then imp2 set department. Whoa! I have no idea what happened, but I don't like it. Let me just copy this guy. Come on. Okay, so now both of these guys have departments. Let's just run it and make sure it works. There's no issue here. Yay, cool. Hey, one of the things I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the toString and make this a little bit more sophisticated. Okay? So, let's go to Java guy and let's go to toString. Instead of just having this, let's keep adding more stuff to it. Let's do department equals, and I'm going to do %s. By the way, when you do these, you got to make dang sure you're getting these things in the correct order. So this would be pfv depart dot get name, get dep name. Okay, so let's run this one more time. Oh, ha ha ha. Okay. I need to put this on the other side of the assigning the department. Okay, now let's try it. Yay! So it's employee one and his sales and his first name is null. Oh yeah, I never gave the guy a first name. I guess I should do that too. Okay, fine. Imp one, set first name. Dang, I don't know why it's doing that. I don't like that. Set first name Bob. Okay, now let's try it. Yay! Okay, that kind of makes sense. Now, the way this thing works is I have an employee class, and then I have a department class, which is a member of the employee class. Again, this is not really all that complicated. All it is I have a class inside a class. I have a class instance inside another class. That's it. That's all there is. So this is not all that complicated. But they talk about the security issues on page 523 for the very same reason. Whenever you're like taking a department, what I did is I just took the department guy and just said equals, right? Isn't that what I just did? Right here when I set the department guy equals, I probably should not have done that. I probably should have made a copy, because right now, if I was to go in to employee 1 and change the supervisor ID, it would change the supervisor ID everywhere for employee 2 as well, okay? And that's not what we want. Well, actually it might be, but let's assume that it's not what you want. So how do I do this? Well, again, one way to do this is to do the constructor thing, or you can do remember the copy method I talked about? So let's go to department and look at whether or not it has a copy method. That would be kind of cool. Here's how to set here's the equals, and here is a copy guy. And all the copy guy does is build a new version based upon itself. The two data things. It only has 2 pieces of data, and then return that. So that's how we're going to solve the issue here inside this guy. Instead of just saying that, I want to be able to use a copy, right? So I'm just going to say dot copy. Okay, and that just means make me a brand new copy so that this guy is no longer now. Now, if I did that, if I was to change the department, things would not change inside. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's my thing, okay? And so I've spit out my toString for employee 1. Okay, good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the department. I'm going to say set department name to engineering. Okay. All right, so when I do the toString, is this going to give me sales or is it going to give me engineering? Ooh. It's sales. If I had not done the copy thing, then changing this would have... Ooh, but that didn't spell engineering right. I am an engineer and I can't spell it. The point is that this solved the problem of having a link back to that object that could have some interesting side effects. Okay, kind of sort of makes sense. Whew. On page 525, they start talking about avoid using null references. What happens if you ask for the name of someone and have never set the name? Remember up here? Let me comment this guy out one more time. And what did it do? It said my first name was null. Now, null is not N-U-L-L. That's a key word that basically means nothing. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that we have the right kind of input validation when we're talking about these guys. So I'm going to go back to my employee guy, and we're going to write some input validation for the employee's first name. Now you might think, my goodness, what on earth could you possibly do to set the guy's first name? I mean, look, check for a list of names that exist. No, that's pretty dumb. But I can check to see if it's null and whether or not it has any data in it. Now names, you would never expect to be like just have punctuation like spaces or tabs or something. So there's two things I need to check. One is I need to check if first name equals null. And you might go, wait a minute, you told me we can't do equal sign for comparison. Well, here I really am talking to the address. In other words, if the address has never been set, then that's equal sign, the comparison operator is what I want. So if it's equal to null or first name, and then there's a thing called is empty and is blank. Now is blank is appropriate here because that means that includes like somebody put a space, hit the space bar a couple times. That's not suitable for a name. So if that's the case, then I want to spit out an error message as usual, right? And I'm going to make this kind of short because I don't want to spend all my time typing. System.out, no, sorry, system.error. Print ln, I guess. Name cannot be empty. Something like that. Okay? So that kind of makes sense. This is a classic example of how you do input validation on a string. You check to see whether or not the string exists at all, if it's pointing to anything at all, and if it is pointing to something, does it have something other than the space bar or tab or something like that. So is it null or is it blank? If it is null or it is blank, well then we need to spit an error message out and get the heck out. Now you remember how we can shortcut this guy, right, and do a return here? That means after the error has occurred, I don't want you to do any more processing. Cool. All right. Now I guess, should have, down here done some secondary input validation on the toString to see if we actually had a value, but I'm not going to do that. That's not really appropriate in this case. Okay. So null means nothing, and the thing hasn't been assigned yet. So if I for example forgot to give it a department, and then asked for something inside the department, like the department get name, this is not going to work. It's going to blow an error. All right, you see what I'm talking about? Let me go back to this guy, and we'll try it one more time. Whoops, no, here. So let me comment these guys out temporarily, okay? And then we're going to run this one more time. And it's not going to like it because I'm talking to a method in here, a method name that does not exist because I'd never set the value of D. Okay. So sometimes you can make sense of this and then sometimes you can't. All right. So if someone passed me a department variable that has not been instantiated, ooh, there's that word again, you can check to see if it's null before you ask for a method inside it. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about on page 528 is the this variable. The this is a special keyword, and it's designed specifically for like a synonym for the current instance. You remember how we wanted to compare things? So I want to compare the existing object to another object, but what do I call this thing? Inside my class, it's just called this. And after the break, I'll show you how that works.